Hi, I'm Jess, and welcome to my channel where I talk about books. Today I'll be talking about Camp Scare by Delilah S. Dawson. Camp Scare is a middle grade horror book published in 2022 about a girl named Parker who, after being bullied at school, gets a scholarship to attend Camp Care. Parker is excited to get a fresh start at camp and maybe finally make some friends. That is, until she finds out that she'll be sharing a cabin with one of her bullies, Cassandra. This video will contain spoilers. Spoilers don't bother me, but if they bother you, maybe check out my September wrap-up video where I give a brief, spoiler-free review of Camp Scare. And really quickly, before we move on to the review, this book does mention suicide. For any parents wondering if this book is appropriate for their middle school-age children, I'd say yes, as long as you're comfortable having a conversation with them about bullying, suicide, and pranks that go way too far. Now on to my review. Parker is thrilled to have been paired with Cassandra, the third most popular girl in her grade, for their language arts project. When she gets to Cassandra's house, they go up to Cassandra's room to start the project. Before they start, Cassandra suggests that they go to the kitchen for some ice cream. While in the kitchen, Parker and Cassandra are getting along well until Cassandra gets a text and starts acting weird. They come up with an idea for the project, and Parker runs up to Cassandra's room to get her notebook from her bag. Cassandra tries to stop her because in Cassandra's room, KJ and Olivia, Cassandra's friends, and the two most popular girls in school, are taking pictures of the contents of Parker's diary and posting them on social media. Everyone at school sees the posts and teases Parker about them. The school officials say that there's nothing they can do because there's no way to prove who keeps making posts about Parker, and they're not making them while at school, so too bad. To stop Parker's parents from suing, the school district awards Parker a scholarship to Camp Care, one of the best overnight summer camps in the state that has been operating since 1956. It's nearly impossible to get a spot at Camp Care. Priority admission goes to returning campers. Most of the campers have been going to Camp Care since they were very young, and their parents went to Camp Care before them. When Parker gets to camp, she signs in and finds out that she needs to wear the camp uniform. She didn't know about the uniform, but everyone else seems to have known. And everyone else's uniforms are nice and broken in, but Parker's brand new uniforms are stiff and scratchy. When she goes to her cabin, she's the last to arrive. Her cabin mates are all part of the same Girl Scout troop and have known each other for years. And worst of all, one of them is Cassandra, one of the girls responsible for making Parker's life miserable for the past 2 months. The other girls are Addison, Sydney, Charlotte, Kaylee, Zoe, Hannah, Emma, and Rosemary. The camp counselors assigned to their cabin are Jasmine and Maeve. When Parker comes back from changing into her uniform in the bathroom, the girls are giving her weird looks. Parker is certain that Cassandra has told them something awful about her to turn them all against her. The campers have free time until dinner. The girls decide to go to the lake. Parker stays back to unpack and then heads to the lake. Her cabin mates are sitting on the dock, but if Parker wants to join them, she'll have to put on one of the camp's gross life vests, because she hasn't passed her swimming test yet. Parker decides to go wait for dinner in the cafeteria instead. In the cafeteria building, there is also a camp museum. Parker decides to check it out. There are photos on the wall for every year, except for 1988. The camp was completely rebuilt in 1989, and the old campgrounds fenced off and made off limits because they were no longer safe. After dinner, they all go to the bonfire. There, Parker sees another girl about her age sitting alone. As Parker is walking towards the girl, Maeve calls her over to learn the cabin's cheer. They're in Possum Cabin. When they get back to their cabin, Addison notices that her necklace is missing. She took it off when they went to the lake earlier and put it in her toiletry bag for safekeeping, and now it's gone. The girls suspect Parker. Parker tells them she didn't take it, but if they don't believe her, they can look through her stuff. In the top drawer of her dresser, they find Addison's necklace, Kaylee's diary, Hannah's lucky scrunchie, a small stuffed rabbit, and a miniature unicorn. Parker tries to convince them that she's innocent, How would she even know that Hannah's ratty old scrunchie is lucky? If she did steal from them, she would be smart enough not to leave their stuff in her top drawer where they'll be easily found, but the girls don't believe her. Parker waits until the girls return from the bathroom before going there to change into her PJs. Parker is the only one in the bathroom when she gets there. She goes into a stall to change. She tosses her shirt under the stall door and starts to cry. Someone else comes into the bathroom and picks up Parker's shirt and hands it to her. Parker compliments the girl on her friendship bracelets. When this book says friendship bracelets, it means the old type of friendship bracelet made with embroidery floss, like when I was a kid, not the beaded bracelets that are called friendship bracelets today. The girl introduces herself as Jenny McAllister. Another girl rushes into the bathroom, and when Parker leaves her stall, Jenny is gone. The next morning, Parker tries to tell Jasmine that the other girls are ostracizing her, but Jasmine just tells her to try harder. Parker then tries to tell Maeve, but it turns out that Maeve is Cassandra's cousin and is insulted that Parker would dare suggest that Cassandra did anything wrong. After lunch, they're scheduled for lake time. That means swim tests. One at a time, each girl swims out to the end of the dock, treads water for a bit, then swims back. Parker is the last to go for her test. The other girls swam off to the floating dock in the middle of the lake with some other campers. Parker swims out to the end of the dock, no problem. But while she's treading water, something grabs her leg and pulls her under. She ends up being rescued by one of the lifeguards, but it means she's failed her test. No one believes her when she says that something grabbed her and pulled her under. At the campfire that night, Parker sits with Jenny. She gives Jenny the friendship bracelet she made earlier in the day, and Jenny gives Parker one of her friendship bracelets. Parker and Jenny talk. They both share a love of poetry. Parker tells Jenny about how Cassandra told the rest of the cabin lies about her, and how, as a result, she's being alienated. The next day, their first activity is horseback riding. Parker has never ridden a horse before, so the instructor pulls her aside and teaches her how to saddle up and ride. Once the instructor is confident that they've all got the basics down, they set out on a trail ride. Parker quickly falls behind with only one of the instructor's teenage daughters behind her. She doesn't really mind, it's not like she was part of the group anyway. When they're almost back to the barn, Parker's horse, Gusty, picks up speed. They catch up to the group. Parker can't get Gusty to stop, and he plows into the horse in front of him, causing all the horses to take off faster towards the barn. When Gusty finally comes to a stop at the barn, Parker quickly dismounts. Apparently, Gusty likes to race to the barn when he thinks he can get away with it. He's supposed to be a beginner-friendly horse, but uncontrollably racing towards the barn doesn't sound very beginner-friendly to me. All of a sudden, Cassandra's horse rears and Cassandra is thrown to the ground. She breaks her arm in the fall, and Maeve takes her to the hospital. While grooming Gusty, she overhears the other girls talking about her. They're deciding whether or not they should give her a chance. Kaylee suggests that Parker didn't steal their stuff, that it could have been Gory Tory. At lunch, Parker follows Kaylee to the bathroom and asks her about Gory Tory. They're not supposed to talk about Gory Tory. If they get caught, they might get kicked out of camp. Before Kaylee can tell Cassandra anything, someone else walks in, and Kaylee refuses to say more. Parker changes the subject to Cassandra. She tells Kaylee that Cassandra is a bit of a mean girl at school, but Kaylee doesn't believe her because Cassandra was bullied at her old school, so she would never be a bully. Then the other girls come to find them. They agree to let Parker join them for the rest of the day. Cassandra is waiting for them on the path to the fire pit, her arm in a cast. Addison asks Parker if she and Cassandra will make up now. Parker says she will if Cassandra admits she lied. Addison defends Cassandra and says she's not a liar or a bully, and Parker can't be friends with them if she keeps accusing Cassandra of bullying her. It's movie night. Parker joins Jenny on the grass behind the benches. She tells Jenny about her day and about how Addison still refuses to believe that she isn't a thief. They vent to each other about bullies and how adults only pretend to take bullying seriously, but when bullying takes the form of alienation, they just pretend it isn't happening. Jenny gives Parker another friendship bracelet before she rejoins her cabin. That night, Parker wakes up when she hears the cabin door open. She looks over and sees a figure standing in the dark doorway, something wet dripping down their hands. The figure lifts a hand and someone shouts, "Pillow fight!" and the door slams open. Someone turns on the lights. 10 girls from another cabin with their pillows start a pillow fight with the girls from Possum Cabin. Parker doesn't join in. She doesn't want to risk being rejected from a group pillow fight. After a few minutes, the invading girls go back to their cabin and everyone goes back to bed. There's no sign of the puddle Parker saw on the floor before the other cabin came in. In the morning, Parker asks Jasmine if the screen door was latched last night. It should have been. Normally the invading cabin knocks when they come to have a pillow fight. When Jasmine inspects the latch, she sees what looks like blood on it. Later that day, one of their activities is archery. Parker has never done archery before, and she's not any good at it. Most of the girls are pretty bad. The only one who can reliably hit the target is Addison. The girls take turns firing arrows, 5 at a time. After they've fired their arrows, the instructor blows his whistle. They put their bows down and go collect their arrows. Then the other half of the cabin gets a turn, and the group that just went sits on a bench and watches. Parker watches Addison, admiring how good she is. That's why she's watching when Addison is collecting her arrows and gets hit in the arm. Addison is taken to the nurse's cabin and later the hospital. She's going to be okay, but she won't be coming back to camp. After Addison's injury, the other girls are told to wait for a counselor to come get them. The other girls chat while they wait, but Parker is excluded from their group. She watches the instructor as he searches the nearby trees. She's the only one that sees him find a bow and quiver of arrows in the underbrush. They have some time to kill before lunch, since their time doing archery was cut short. So they all go to the craft cabin to work on their friendship bracelets. The other girls think Parker is a bad luck charm. Nothing bad has ever happened to them at camp until Parker arrived. After lunch, their activity is capture the flag, in preparation for Friday's camp-wide game. With Addison gone and Cassandra unable to play because of her arm, they are divided into teams of 4. Parker is on a team with Sydney, Hannah, and Zoe. Sydney takes capture the flag very seriously. Her team has never lost. Her parents met playing capture the flag at Camp Care, and their team never lost either. Winning is a family tradition. Sydney tells Hannah and Zoe to guard the flag and tells Parker to come with her. Sydney and Parker end up getting captured by the other team when Sydney trips over Parker. They end up losing the game and Sydney blames Parker. She threatens to get Parker kicked out of camp. That evening it rains, and instead of a bonfire, they do karaoke in the cafeteria. Before going into the cafeteria for karaoke, Parker goes to the bathroom, where she finds Jenny. Jenny convinces Parker to sneak out and meet her on the dock that night after the rain stops. On the dock, Parker tells Jenny about Sydney's threats. Parker doesn't stay on the dock long because she's being eaten by mosquitoes. When Parker gets back to her cabin, she notices a 3rd friendship bracelet on her wrist. The next day, they start with foraging. Their instructor teaches them how to recognize different mushrooms, including Destroying Angel, an incredibly deadly mushroom. They're told to never eat wild mushrooms unless an expert tells them it is safe. Their next activity is aerial adventures. Parker is much slower than the other girls. When she's almost done with her 2nd round, the other girls catch up to her on their 3rd. Sydney pushes a swinging obstacle into Parker, causing her to stumble. Sydney pushes another obstacle towards Parker, almost hitting her in the face. Sydney then stomps on the boards Parker is standing on, causing her to fall. At lunch, Parker takes her pizza to eat alone outside. She thinks about finding the director's cabin to ask him to call her parents to pick her up, but she decides against it because she wants to say goodbye to Jenny before she leaves. Sydney comes running out, looking pale and sick. She runs towards the bathroom but doesn't make it and vomits on the ground. Zoe comes out looking for Sydney, and Parker tells her where Sydney went. Soon, the rest of the cabin comes out, and they go to the bathroom to check on Sydney. See, she's worse. The other girls go to the lake to swim while Sydney stays in the bathroom until she's well enough to go to the nurse's cabin. After lake time, the girls are told to go wait in their cabin. The camp director, Foggy, wants to speak with them individually. They aren't allowed to talk to each other as they wait their turn for Jasmine to escort them to Foggy's office. Sydney was poisoned with destroying angel mushrooms. Foggy asked Parker if she saw Sydney acting strange. Parker says that she seemed fine until lunch when she ran out of the cafeteria sick. Parker tells Foggy that Sydney and the other girls have been bullying her. Foggy doesn't believe her. The other girls have told him a very different story about Parker, and since he's known them longer, he believes them. Parker asks him to call her mother to come pick her up so she can go home early because her time at camp has been so awful. She just asks that she get a chance to say goodbye to her friend Jenny first. Foggy says there is no Jenny at camp. Parker describes Jenny and says her full name is Jenny McAllister. This angers Foggy and he orders her out of his office. Parker asks Jasmine about Jenny, but Jasmine says she's never seen Parker with Jenny. At the campfire that night, Jasmine doesn't let Parker leave their cabin's bench to go talk to Jenny. When they get back to their cabin, Parker finds a note on her bed from Jenny, telling Parker to meet her at the dock again. When Parker sneaks out, Cassandra tries to stop her, but Parker doesn't care if she gets caught, because she wants to go home anyway. Parker tells Jenny about Sydney and that she's planning on going home the next day. Jenny is upset by this, and Parker is scared of Jenny. Something she says makes Parker worry. Parker asks Jenny if she did something. Jenny says she was just trying to help. Bullies deserve to be punished. Parker tells Jenny that she doesn't want to be friends anymore and takes off the friendship bracelets and tosses them into the lake. Back at her cabin, Parker wakes Jasmine and tells her that Jenny is the one responsible for spooking Cassandra's horse, hitting Addison with an arrow, and poisoning Sydney. Jasmine tells her that she probably just had a nightmare and to go back to sleep. Parker wakes Maeve to tell her about Jenny, but Maeve says Parker must have been dreaming and there's no way she could have left the cabin without waking them because Foggy installed bells over the door that would ring anytime the door opened. In the morning, Jasmine asks Parker if she still wants to go home. Parker does. Foggy dials Parker's mother's number, but no one picks up. It just keeps ringing. It doesn't even go to voicemail like it should after 6 rings. Next, Foggy tries Parker's father, and the same thing happens. It happens again with Parker's grandmother. Next, Foggy tries calling his wife to see if the phone system is working properly, and she answers on the second ring. Finally, Foggy tries the number listed as Parker's emergency contact, her neighbor, Mrs. Miller. No answer. Foggy tells Parker that he'll keep trying and she should stay with her cabin, and he'll radio Jasmine when he's able to get a hold of her parents. Parker asks him how he plans to protect her from Jenny. Foggy tells her that there is no Jenny. Someone is messing with her. The real Jenny McAllister was a camper in the past during a difficult year for the camp, and now she's an adult and a generous donor. Parker realizes that Jenny must have been a camper in 1988, and she has something to do with Gory Tori. Enraged, Foggy tells Parker to get out. In the cabin, Parker's bed isn't how she left it. It's unmade, and on her pillow are her muddy flip-flops she lost last night and the 4 friendship bracelets she threw in the lake. The bracelets are in perfect condition. They look new. Parker grabs them and runs to the bathroom and flushes them down the toilet. One of their activities that day is rec games. Parker is paired with Cassandra. While playing horseshoes, Parker notices something colorful around the stake. It's the friendship bracelets, now covered in blood. She grabs them before Cassandra sees and stuffs them into her sock. At the campfire that night, Parker tosses the bracelets into the fire. At breakfast, they get good news about Sydney. She got treatment early enough and she's going to be okay. Today is Flag Wars, a massive game of Capture the Flag. Parker doesn't get to play. She has to stay with Jasmine in case Foggy is able to get in touch with her parents. Cassandra can't play either because of her arm. She has to stay with Maeve. Parker and Jasmine walk to Jasmine's post along the fence that surrounds the old camp. Parker asks Jasmine about Gory Tori. All Jasmine knows is that a camper died in 1988, and Foggy gets angry when someone brings it up. A sudden storm comes, and the game of Capture the Flag is paused. Jasmine and Parker get up to walk back to camp and out of the woods when lightning strikes a nearby tree. The tree falls, almost crushing Parker. The tree is on fire, and Parker can't get around it to get to Jasmine. But Parker notices a spot where the fence is pulled up and crawls under it. She walks along the fence with Jasmine on the other side, looking for a place she can climb back through. As they get closer to the old camp, Parker hears someone calling for help. She goes to investigate. At the base of the totem pole, Parker sees one of her friendship bracelets and picks it up. Then she goes into one of the cabins. It wasn't empty like she expected. It looked like it was still in use. On one of the beds, she finds another of her friendship bracelets and a diary. She reads it. The first entry she reads is about how awful camp is and how the writer is being bullied by her cabin mates. The next entry is happier. It says that Jenny and the other girls have changed their minds and will let the writer join their friend group. She's supposed to meet them after curfew and perform a special ceremony to become a blood sister. There are no more diary entries after that one. As Parker flips through the rest of the diary, looking for more entries, a key falls out. She pockets it. Then she hears another call for help. It's coming from a shed. But there's a new-looking padlock on the door and no other way in. The padlock matches the key Parker found in the diary. When she opens the door, someone pushes her in and slams the door shut. Inside, wrist-bound, is Cassandra. Parker frees Cassandra and tells her that this has something to do with what happened in 1988. Cassandra tells Parker that her mother was at camp then, and there was this new girl who was obsessed with her, and when she didn't get any attention, she killed herself. Jenny steps out from behind some rusted machinery. She says Cassandra is lying. Jenny isn't her real name. She's Tori. The real Jenny McAllister is Cassandra's mother. The real Jenny bullied Tori. Then one day, she seemingly changed her mind and invited Jenny to become a blood sister. Tori was to sneak into the boiler room cabin, draw a circle on the floor, and make little cuts on her wrists. Then the other girls would join her. But the other girls never came, and Tori cut too deep. When she tried to go to the nurse for help, the door wouldn't open, and she died. And now, she's going to get revenge on Jenny by killing her daughter. Cassandra apologizes to Parker for bullying her, and the two girls make up. Cassandra also promises to come clean to her friends and admit she lied about Parker. Parker realizes that something is keeping Tori tethered here. She sees a chalk circle on the floor and tells Cassandra to help her wipe it out. As they get rid of the circle, Tori starts to fade and look less alive and more like a rotting corpse. But they are still trapped in the cabin with her. Parker reaches into her pocket and finds her 4 friendship bracelets. She realizes that the ritual on the night Tori died was never completed. She asks Tori if she still wants to be blood sisters. The 3 girls join hands to complete the ritual, and Tori disappears. When Parker tries the door again, it opens. The storm has passed, and Parker and Cassandra head towards the totem pole. As they pass the cabin Parker went into earlier, Parker looks in again, and it's empty. They hear someone calling their names and call back and wait by the totem pole to be found. As they wait, Cassandra confesses that she dared one of the boys to grab Parker's ankle during her swim test. Back at camp, Cassandra confesses to the other girls, like she promised. The other girls go to the lake to decide what they want to do, and Parker and Cassandra sit in the cafeteria. Parker decides to pin her friendship bracelets to the wall of the camp museum in the place where photos from 1988 should be. This book made me cry. A middle-grade horror book has no business making me feel so much. Dawson does a really good job of portraying what it's like to be bullied, the alienation, and the way authority figures ignore it. And when they can't ignore it anymore, they put the blame on the victim for not trying hard enough. My only criticism is that Camp Scare was a little predictable. I figured out that Jenny was a ghost immediately, and that she was the one causing the accidents. But that's not really a fair critique because it's a middle grade book. I, an adult, should find it predictable. For the intended audience, middle schoolers, it probably won't be predictable. I think Camp Scare will help kids like Parker feel seen and help kids like Cassandra realize how much their actions hurt others and that real friends are more important than popularity. I highly recommend this book. If you like the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Leave a ghost emoji in the comments to let me know that you've made it to the end. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day.